Top 10 games releasing in March 2026. 20-minute ultra deep dive. Why March 2026 matters. March 2026 is one of those months that reminds you why gaming is still unmatched as an entertainment medium. We're talking emotional storytelling, massive open worlds, competitive multiplayer, horror that messes with your head, and pure arcade fun, all packed into a single release window. This isn't just another countdown. This is a deep dive into the top 10 games releasing in March 2026. What they play like, why they matter, who they're for, and whether they deserve your time and money. If you enjoy long-form gaming breakdowns, grab a drink, sit back, and let's get into it. 10 Coffee Talk Tokyo. Comfort gaming with substance. Starting our list is Coffee Talk Tokyo, a game that completely rejects the idea that games need constant action to be engaging. At its core, Coffee Talk Tokyo is about human connection. You play as a barista in a late-night cafe, serving drinks while listening to people unload their thoughts, regrets, fears, and hopes. The Tokyo setting adds cultural depth, blending modern city life with subtle fantasy elements inspired by folklore. Mechanically, it's simple, making drinks, choosing ingredients, and guiding conversations, but emotionally, it's surprisingly deep. The choices you make don't scream at you with morality meters. They quietly shape relationships over time. This is the kind of game you play with headphones on, lights low, and zero distractions. If you love slow-burn narratives, slice-of-life storytelling, or games that feel like a warm blanket after a long day, Coffee Talk Tokyo absolutely earns its spot here. 9 Marathon, Bungie's most dangerous gamble. At number 9 is Marathon, and this might be the most polarizing game on this list. Marathon is a PvPvE extraction shooter, meaning players are dropped into hostile environments where survival, loot, and escape are the ultimate goals. You're competing against AI enemies and other players, creating constant tension. What makes Marathon different is Bungie's design philosophy. Gunplay is precise, movement is fluid, and combat feels deliberate rather than chaotic. The visual style is striking, bold colors, clean sci-fi environments, and an atmosphere that leans heavily into mystery. But this genre is unforgiving. Players expect fair balance, meaningful progression, and long-term support. If Bungie gets it right, Marathon could be a long-lasting competitive platform. If not, it risks losing momentum fast. This isn't a guaranteed hit. It's a high-stakes experiment, and that's exactly why it's so fascinating. 8 Pokémon Pokopia, rediscovering the magic. At number 8, Pokémon Pokopia arrives with a lot riding on its shoulders. Pokopia introduces a brand new region, new Pokémon designs, and a renewed emphasis on exploration. The world structure feels more flexible, encouraging players to wander, experiment, and stumble into unexpected encounters. Combat appears smoother and more dynamic, with improved animations and pacing. Quality of life updates help reduce grind, while still preserving the strategic depth competitive players enjoy. What really matters here is tone. Pokémon Pokopia feels like it's trying to recapture that sense of wonder, the feeling of stepping into a world where you don't know what's around the next corner. For longtime fans who felt burned out, this could be the reset the franchise needed. App 7 Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly Remake, Fear Without Weapons. Number 7 is Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly Remake, and this is horror done differently. Instead of power fantasies, Fatal Frame thrives on vulnerability. You're not blasting enemies. You're standing still, aiming a camera at ghosts, waiting for the perfect moment while your heartbeat rises. The remake enhances lighting, sound design, and environmental detail, making every creaking floorboard and distant whisper feel personal. The story, rooted in tragedy and loss, unfolds slowly, forcing you to piece together what happened. This isn't a game you rush through. It demands patience and emotional investment. If you enjoy psychological horror that relies on atmosphere instead of jump scares, this remake is one of March's most important releases. 6 Toxic Commando, Chaos, Co-op, and Carpenter Energy. At number 6 is Toxic Commando, a game that proudly wears its influences on its sleeve. This is pure B-movie energy. Mutant hordes, absurd weapons, ridiculous scenarios, and co-op gameplay designed around shared chaos. Created in collaboration with John Carpenter, the tone is intentionally cheesy, loud, and over the top. Mechanically, it's straightforward. Survive waves, upgrade gear, and work together. But the magic is in the moments. Friendly fire mishaps, last-second saves, and laugh-out-loud failures. Toxic Commando isn't chasing esports relevance. It's chasing fun, and in a market full of serious shooters, that makes it stand out. 5 WWE 2K26, the ultimate wrestling sandbox. Halfway through the list is WWE 2K26, and this series has quietly become one of the deepest sports sandboxes in gaming. This entry refines animations, improves AI behavior, and expands fan-favorite modes. Whether you're recreating classic rivalries or building absurd fantasy matchups, the tools here are incredibly flexible. What really sells WWE 2K26 is variety. You can play seriously, competitively, or completely unhinged. Few games let you mix realism and chaos so seamlessly. If you enjoy creative freedom, couch multiplayer, or sports entertainment rather than strict simulation, WWE 2K26 continues to deliver. At 4 Monster Hunter Stories 3, Twisted Reflection, Strategy Meets Heart. At number 4 is Monster Hunter Stories 3, Twisted Reflection. This series shifts Monster Hunter into a turn-based RPG format, focusing on relationships with monsters rather than hunting them. You collect, hatch, and raise monsters, forming a party that reflects your choices. Combat emphasizes planning and synergy rather than reflexes, while the story leans into themes of balance and consequence. The art style is vibrant and welcoming, but the systems underneath offer real depth. This is a perfect entry point for newcomers and a refreshing change of pace for veterans. 3 Crimson Desert, Ambition on a massive scale. Number 3 is Crimson Desert, and this is where things get serious. This is a single-player open-world RPG focused on brutal combat, cinematic storytelling, and large-scale conflict. Every fight feels weighty, every environment feels lived in, and the narrative leans darker than most fantasy RPGs. The ambition here is enormous. If executed well, Crimson Desert could stand alongside the biggest RPGs of the generation. This is one of those games that could define 2026. 2 Life is Strange. Reunion emotional storytelling at its peak. At number 2 is Life is Strange, Reunion. This game leans fully into emotion, character growth, and the long-term consequences of choice. The return of Max and Chloe brings nostalgia, but the story focuses on who they've become, not who they were. Time-based mechanics return with new twists, allowing the narrative to explore memory, regret, and healing. If you value storytelling that stays with you long after the credits roll, this is one of March's must-play experiences. And finally, the number 1 game releasing in March 2026 is Screamer. This is arcade racing distilled to its purest form: speed, style, and flow. Tight controls, aggressive AI, and a synth-heavy soundtrack keep your adrenaline pumping. Screamer isn't trying to simulate real driving. It's trying to make racing feel good. And sometimes that's exactly what gaming needs. March 2026 is stacked from top to bottom. Whether you're here for story, competition, horror, or pure fun, there's something for everyone. Which game are you most excited for? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this ultra-deep breakdown, hit like, subscribe for more long-form gaming content, and I'll see you in the next one.